Hello and welcome everybody to Gameflix and Chill. I am Nick. This is Dante. This is your podcast where we talk about games, movies, music, anything we want to talk about it. We will talk about it here on Gameflix and Chill. It has been 2 weeks since we uploaded. You got busy, new job. Then the following weekend, me, Dante, and a couple other people, big group of us, went and did a tour of the West Virginia Penitentiary. And we had this whole idea of just doing like recording and doing a podcast and just kind of talking about that. And so I recorded all the footage and got home and we were just gonna put it like a little video together from that. And whenever I went to ingest all the footage to my computer, it was shot in a format that I need to pay money to convert so that I can use it with my editing program. So that never got fucking done. That never got uploaded. So we're just gonna kind of bullshit a little bit about that today and yeah, have some fun. It's a good time though. I enjoyed myself.
Oh yeah, we got a
Yeah.
couple more things in mind. I don't know if you remember what we were all talking about.
Um the asylum going
Well,
into
there that
you said that one.
that's that's definitely a possibility because I mean that's also we could technically I believe there's an all overnight one for that one as well. But you kind of get the gist of that one in like the normal nighttime tour.
Yeah.
But no, we were thinking of doing cabin
Oh
somewhere
yeah, yeah,
down
yeah.
here
That would
for
be fun.
probably like a week or something. But side news, I had to talk to Donkey. You guys may know him as that bald guy we had on here a few weeks back. Uh, they were re-releasing Interstellar at IMAX.
We should do that.
Yeah, yeah. I was gonna bring it up to him. I was like, all right, let me talk about it real quick.
Yeah, well Donkey's in the other Discord, so we'll talk to him after we're done shooting this. So um
Yeah,
yeah, I'd be totally down to experience that in theaters. I feel like that's a really good way to do it, you know?
it is, especially in IMAX. There's a few scenes in the movie that I can think of right now that just looking up at that giant screen while watching it, it would just it'd be so immersive.
Yeah. I'm totally down. As long as we pick a good weekend to do it or something. That'd be sick. Uh so I started watching The Boys,
Okay,
like I said
okay.
I was going to. Oh, okay. You want here's my honest opinion. Like it's good, right? The shock value sometimes is just like, damn, they did that. But because it's been out for so long, I don't know if I've ever actually talked about this. I hate spoilers.
Hmm.
Like I don't even like watching trailers for movies if it's a movie I know I want to see because I'd rather experience it without, kind of blind, right? So I've obviously it's been out for a while. Um it's kind of hard to avoid spoilers at this point, you know.
Hmm.
Instagram Reels, TikToks, whatever. You're gonna run across it. YouTube Shorts, hell, even like long form YouTube content. I've seen stuff about it. So like, there's things that I have seen from it, which kind of may have tainted my experience, but I don't think in a meaningful way that it did. But I like it. I really do. However, there's it's not a like gripping story. You know what I mean? There's parts of it that it's like, yeah, that could be good, and then it's like they work the angle a little bit, but they don't commit to the plot all too well. One of the prime examples of this is um like it seems like everything you can kind of just predict where it's gonna come from. where the surprises in the show kind of happen for me, or just like, for one, the weird like sexual relationship between Homelander and what's her face, the director lady
Mm.
in season 1. Like, that's what shocked me. Not that, like, spoilers, Homelander was running Compound V. It's like, yeah, probably he was doing that. And I like the political ties, honestly. Like, the way they're like greasing politicians to let Soups into the military. Now, I'm not finished with season 2 yet. I'm about to finish it. I think I have one episode left in season 2. But it's good. I feel like I don't get the shock value out of the like twist in storytelling. I get it more out of seeing Kimiko rip a man's face clean off. Or,
Mm.
at the end of season 1 where Homelander literally burns that lady's eyes through the back of her skull. Like, that was where I got my shock value out of it. So it's more like visual shock value rather than um like shock value through storytelling.
Gotcha.
That's how I kind of feel about it. It's good. It's a great show that I can um sit back and just kind of enjoy. It's kind of nutty, kind of gruesome in sometimes. Um, I can wholeheartedly say that, like, I'm fully behind Huey and Starlight as of right now. It's like, yes, these are the best two characters in this show. Everybody else kind of sucks. Him and MM, I like
Mm.
MM. MM is sick. He's like, it's weird because for the first season, it's like Huey was this voice of reason between everybody else, and then in season 2, it's slowly like MM starts becoming this voice of reason. And if MM is your voice of reason, it's like, man, we took some wrong turns somewhere. But I really I like it. I like it. So without getting too far into it, it's good. It tickles the want to see like a violent action movie bone, but I mean, I kind of didn't expect too much of like a major plot. Like, everything I've seen plot wise, it's like, man, yeah, I kind of saw that one coming. Juan Carlo Esposito's in it. I didn't know he was in it, but he plays your typical Juan Carlo Esposito character.
Yeah, yeah.
Black Noir, kind of like oddly comedic relief because he just
Mm.
doesn't talk.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I feel like if you could just talk to that guy and be like, listen, dude, this is what's going on. I feel like he'd be the one character that'd be like, and just leave. But I don't know. I feel like he's just uh, up until where I am in season 2, he's been utilized twice. Once in the alley fight with Kimiko, and then once whenever they track down Butcher at his aunt's house. Like, that's it.
Well, my thing is I like making fun of Black Noir because his name is literally translated to just Black Black.
Yeah.
Um, he's an interesting character, and I do have to say, if you like him, the Reject or Wish.com Batman, um, you do see more of him. You're just not
Okay.
quite there yet.
All right. Awesome. It's really good. I like the show. It tickles a bone somewhere. Like I said, I didn't expect to go into it to it being like this incredible like the Dark Knight level of crime thriller. I kind of
Hmm.
just went into it as like gruesome, like Deadpool Logan esque superhero TV show, and it tickles it. Like I said, it tickles that part of me that wants to see that type of media. It's good. I can solidly say that I haven't had a day yet since I've started watching it that I'm like, man, I really don't want to watch that tonight, you know? And that's good
Hmm.
for me. Um yeah, I'm trying to think of anything else that really just kind of threw me off guard. Man, like Homelander is a fucking psycho. Like
Hey, now,
absolute
hey,
fucking psycho.
hey, now, watch yourself there.
Um but yeah.
But I can see your point. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
he's
I
fucking
see your side.
he literally he grew up knowing nothing about like humanity. He grew up without humanity. And I don't mean like as in the people that live on earth humanity. I mean like the emotion of humanity. Grew up like a fucking lab rat. And he's truly probably one of the people in the show that is the least relatable, you know? Like he reminds me of a child who never had, I don't want to say hardship or like that's cuz that's not the right word, but like never had experiences that would mold him and prepare him for like what the world's really like. And on top of that, he's like the most powerful person on the planet so far in the series. I don't know where it goes, but like he has such a god complex. He literally sees no value in humans that are beneath him. And yeah, I don't know, like that is I guess the one part of the plot that I kind of really like is that they finally made Superman, but instead of Superman being, not born here but grew up here, he sympathizes with humans. He considers himself someone from Earth, even though he wasn't born here. Homelander is the complete opposite, you know?
Oh, I get it.
I like it. I like it.
I have to say my favorite character is Butcher.
Butcher's awesome. However, I will say he annoys me a little bit. And it's at least where I'm at in season 2, he's kind of annoying me, right? And I think that's kind of intentional because he's going off to find his wife. After some very unsavory things happened to her, and she like essentially he thought she was dead. And he's having his own journey and he's making his peace with her decisions after that. And it seems like he quit caring about the rest of the group as much, like where I'm at least.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I like Huey kind of took the reins and led the team, and then he just kind of like showed back up and was like, "Oi, cunts, let's get it then." And I think it's intentional. Whereas in like season 1, he was very much like a brother figure to Huey. In season 2, he's kind of just doing his own thing, and it seems like he doesn't give a shit. He's out for blood. He's out for himself. I like the one line his wife had about him. It's like, you were one bad day away from beating somebody up, beating someone to death in a parking lot. Because I feel like that is so relatable to me. Not that I'm a violent person, but I've had my days where it's just like, someone honks at me while I'm driving, and it's like I'm following you home now. I don't know. Not the best role model, obviously. But yeah, I enjoyed it.
Well, let's loop back to the trip a little bit. So, what
Yes,
were your opinions on the prison?
I
How'd you
still
feel
don't believe
about
in
it?
ghosts. I still don't believe in ghosts. I it was a lot of fun. It was interesting. Um so honestly, I'll say it like My favorite part was a few minutes before we were leaving. Um, because before we did the tour, and then we were kind of on a schedule, so we had to do the tour. We had to leave, go get lunch, and then we had some hours to kill, but the prison wasn't open again for us to do our overnight stay till like 10:30. And we started the overnight stay. We went and did like the nighttime tour where there's no light for the listeners and viewers. There's no lights in the prison at all. So you're relying solely on flashlights and stuff like that. And my favorite part was probably the last 10 minutes that we were there. I picked up one of the books in the lobby and started reading it. And it was
Mhm.
like every person that they had executed there, what their crime was, and how long they were in prison, how they were executed, their last words. And probably the first 10 or 15 people that I read in that book were all, I don't want to say, I'll say victims of the system. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because they were executed for, like, the one guy. No, I'm not going to say all of them, but the one guy accidentally killed somebody. Like, a gun went off that he was under the impression that it was inoperable because of how old the weapon was, and he pulled the trigger, I guess, and then the gun didn't go off. So then he like picked the gun up and then he shot the person next to him who was like a young kid. And he was put in prison and killed for an accident. Yeah, I mean, yes, he killed a man, but like just goes to show like how far we've come from that. And someone that would have someone that would have done a similar crime um today would likely not have to be put to death. But yeah, I thought the trip was great. I had a lot of fun. But as far as ghosts and hauntings, and I definitely had some weird vibes. When we first got there, the first place we went down to was the Sugar Shack. Maybe go ahead and explain that one.
Um, hmm. All right, how do I explain this? So the Sugar Shack was an area at the prison. It was like a recess time, and
Yes.
but recess time looked a lot like when they stormed the beaches of Normandy,
Yeah.
and the guards didn't care to check down there on the prisoners.
Yeah.
It was there was legitimately one way in, one way out.
Yeah. So
So,
there, and how it came to be was um the prisoners were allotted like yard time, but
yep,
in the winter months, because in West Virginia it's very cold, so they weren't getting any outdoor activities, outdoor time. So they like cleared out this storage basement and let the prisoners kind of go down there, but because it was a storage area, it was very um unsafe for the guards to go down there. Like Dante said, one way in, one way out, no clear height advantage. Um,
yeah, it was
not a
usually one guard to 150 prisoners.
right. So these prisoners pretty much went down there and could do whatever they want, and various how do I say this? Various types of assaults on one another and um murders would occur down there. That right there, when I first went in there, I just had a weird feeling. Like I was standing somewhere where, because I knew the the lore, the background of it, like I was standing somewhere that many people had lost their lives and had their lives ruined, and that was probably the most freaked out I had been the entire trip. But I don't know. I don't. I've never really believed in ghosts. I've had one thing that as a kid I didn't. I thought it was a ghost, but as an adult, I'll tell you the backstory. I was at my dad's house. I don't know if you remember my dad's house, but it had a split entry, so like you could go up the steps to the kitchen or down the steps to the basement as soon as you went through the door. And that house, I mean, always creaking and cracking, like almost sounded like you could hear footsteps walking. That's how much. So I always thought the place was haunted. And one day I loaded the dishwasher, but I had like a handful of dishes that weren't clean, so I just put some dish soap in the sink and washed the rest of them while the dishwasher was running. And out of the corner of my eye, I saw something walk from my parents' bedroom to the living room. Now, keep in mind, this corner of my eye, I'm the only one home at the time. So, yeah, like right then and there, I was like, damn, this place is haunted. Well, as I got older, I realized, well, this whole entire town that I live in is built on old mine systems. So, foundations constantly like receding into the ground. There's, you know, there's your creaking, your what sounds like footsteps right there. It's an old house, and we had a bay window in the front. So when cars would drive by, regardless of if it's daytime or nighttime, a lot of the times the sun would reflect in the daytime off of the side of the car in through the bay window. And I noticed it when I was actually up there a number of years ago now. Light would flicker from my parents' room to their living room. So I was like, man, this place wasn't haunted. I was just like, I was a kid who wanted the place to be haunted. You know what I mean?
I get you. Yeah.
So I've never really, I won't say never. I don't believe in ghosts. I didn't experience anything there that was like, man, this, other than like just being freaked out because of the lore and the idea of the place. Um, but I had a good time, regardless.
Oh yeah. It's an interesting place. Not to mention the Mason Dixon barbecue.
Oh my
Um,
god. Bro, that was the best barbecue I've ever had in my entire life. It beats out BBG. There's a place that I used to go to when I was in college called BBG, Big Black Grill. And the guy would go out at like 7 in the morning and start smoking pork, brisket, chicken, whatever you wanted barbecue. He had it. And it was kind of like Chipotle, where you could get like a bowl of like barbecue rice. So it's like smoked, steamed rice that they smoked with the meat, with all like
mm,
the drippings from the whatever, the pork, the brisket. You could get like a half chicken, and we would go there every Wednesday. It's better than that. It blew it out of the fucking water. Because at that
I
point, like
love this.
I've had some barbecue, right? I've been around the block. I've been circling this fucking sun for 27 years. I've had some good barbecue. That place, hands down, the best I've ever had in my life. If any of you ever find yourselves in Moundsville, check out Mason Dixon Barbecue. Incredible.
I know if we when we eventually get that cabin trip planned, because we stayed down in this place in West Virginia. It was about an hour outside of what is that, Fayette County. So about an hour outside of there, not too far away from PA, but it was still West Virginia. Nice place. And they had a bigger cabin like right down the dirt road that we could definitely try and get hooked up because the one cabin we stayed at could comfortably it could fit like 5 people, but there wouldn't be too much privacy because there was only one main bedroom.
Yeah.
um I know they had a bigger cabin, and like I said, it was like maybe a block further down the road. But they each have their own like privacy area. They each have like a hot tub, big burn pit.
That would
Uh,
be something cool for in the fall. Um,
yeah,
I don't know about a whole week. I'm thinking more like a long weekend. That would
that's
definitely
what we
be
did
something.
last time, and we would prefer it to be a little longer. Now you guys can leave at any time,
Right.
obviously, but if we wanted to plan something, well, Taylor and I would probably want it to be like a minimum of 5 days. But if
Yeah.
somebody wants to leave early or whatever, they can't. It's your own people.
Yeah, we'll get that worked out for sure.
But
Yeah.
so the asylum though, the asylum was definitely where I now Taylor doesn't believe in ghosts, nothing like that either. But when we walked through the asylum, when we got to a certain part in it, she just felt such a heavy presence, and then because of the emotion in the building, she started bawling in one of the areas,
Yeah,
and
and
she doesn't believe
that's
in none
not
of that.
that's not easy for her to do.
Yeah,
I've known you guys a long time. I don't think I've ever seen that happen out of her. She's a pretty tough gal. Um dude, let's backtrack just a little bit. Can we
back to the
talk
barbecue.
about no. Well, I could sit here and talk about Mason Dixon barbecue all day, but no, let's talk about Dan.
Oh,
Dan was scared. He
yeah, he
was
was.
scared.
Bro, he explored. He got the grand tour of the lobby.
Oh,
But yeah, Dan at the prison. So 90% of the time, I'm fairly certain Dan was hiding behind somebody while we were walking around.
yeah.
And then at a certain point in the night, I think he just got so scared that he's like, I'm just gonna go hang out in the lobby the rest of the
Yep. That's exactly what he did. Me and you
night.
were like up in the infirmary. Me, you, and everybody else were up in the infirmary. Like, where'd Dan go? It's like, man, Dan went to the bathroom like an hour ago, and we haven't fucking seen him since. It's like, oh, okay. And Donkey was a little bit like there were multiple times where it's like, Donkey, turn your fucking flashlight off. There's no fucking light in here. I get it. But I've been flashed in the eyes at least a dozen fucking times in the last 10 minutes. Can you just turn it off? Just turn it off. I got the red light. Hefe has his red light. It's a little bit easier on the eyes than the bright fucking blue star that is coming out of your flashlight. And it'll illuminate us enough that we can see what we're doing, but we're not blinding people. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he brought that 10,000 lumen.
Legit 10,000 lumen flashlight. Like, I get it. Like I said, there's literally no lights. Like that one hallway we were in, pitch
Oh yeah,
black.
the shadow band.
There's no exterior lighting coming in that hallway. Is dark. Um I Dan though, man. He's a believer. Hardcore fucking believer in the paranormal and the uh I was going to say occult, but it's not really the occult. It's just like
Mhm.
demons and stuff like that. I don't necessarily. I mean, they had this wheelchair down in the Sugar Shack, and I literally sat in it. Like if something bad was gonna happen, it was gonna happen to me, right? I
Mhm.
didn't give a fuck. I'm just sitting in the damn thing. I haven't noticed shit in my house getting moved around or in my apartment getting moved around. I haven't felt a heavy weight on my soul.
I'll have to talk to Justice about that then.
Yeah, call Justice, be like, hey, take some fucking like dishes out of the fucking cabinets, take them all out, every cup you own, take them out, put them on the counter, stack them up into a tower. Be going back, burning that fucking wheelchair.
Change the angle on every one of the posters behind you
Yeah,
just by like not even an inch.
turn them around and just scribble on the back of them and like fucking pencil. No, I had a great time. It was
How was y'all?
it
Mhm.
was weird. So we did the tour and everything, and it's like I didn't remember any much of it. Like, and by the way, the tour didn't cover a whole like a lot of the prison. It was an hour and a half long tour, and it didn't cover like the Sugar Shack. It didn't cover the church. It didn't cover the infirmary. It was basically administration, cell blocks, um, cafeteria, and visitation areas, right?
It did the death house, where at least where that used to
Used
be.
to be, yeah. Um, so it was weird going in there, and I'm like, this has to lead to the infirmary. And I didn't know. And we're walking up the steps, and it says infirmary. And I'm like, okay. And I think at one point, Donkey looked at me and he goes, "You played way too much Mob of the Dead." Because I was literally basing my entire layout of this prison off of how much I played fucking Mob of the Dead as a kid.
Hmm.
And I mean, they had to have some type of like formula or like basic standardization of layouts back in the day when these places were erected and built. But yeah, the one place I wish we could have seen that was locked up behind the spinny wheel, the spinning um
Yeah, the
door.
spinning gate in the front, or what used to be like the front for visitation
Yeah,
and administration.
administration,
All
yeah.
that.
The one thing I wish we could have done is walk up and see the warden's quarters and everything like that because I thought that would have been really cool. And I wonder how much is left up there. Um it also amazed me how much the place is still utilized. Uh I'd imagine it's the Moundsville police or state police, one or the other. They actually use the facilities in the prison,
Yeah,
which is cool. Um I enjoyed the tour. I really enjoyed the tour, like where they're taking you out by where the gallows and the electric chair used to be out in the middle of like the courtyard, I guess you would call it, the yard where they called them the bullpens, which were like the caged in areas for like the more violent offenders. That was
yeah.
fun.
You paid a grand total of $2. Bring your whole family down to watch an execution.
Yeah, and that's the way it was. You $2, you put on your Sunday's best, and you watch them go kill someone. Just crazy to think of. Crazy. Like that would not fly in America today. Um, what else?
Now, on a side note, how was y'all's drive back up?
I was in the back seat. I was playing on my phone the entire time, just trying to stay awake. Um,
Gotcha.
got the donkeys probably 6:30. Got in my car, took Dan home. I think it was about 7 o'clock by the time I walked through the door, maybe a little after 7. Wasn't bad. I was beat though. I came home and I slept till probably 4 o'clock.
Jesus.
Yeah. I
Damn.
came home, did the dishes, unpacked my shit, and cleaned up a little bit, and I went to sleep. Because you got to remember, like the night before, I didn't get off work till midnight. So it was
Yeah.
midnight, and then I had to be at Donkey's by. I wanted to be at Donkey's by I think 10. So I didn't end up falling asleep till like 3. So I slept from 3 probably till 8:30 so I could get all my shit together, go get Dan, drive to Donkeys. So I only slept probably what, 4 hours. So the next day, man, I was fucking dead. And then I got up, I had concert tickets on Sunday, so I got up at like 4, showered, went to the concert, and then yeah, I was gonna edit all of this stuff because I knew I wasn't gonna edit and get everything done that I wanted to get done for Monday, but I was gonna try to do it Monday evening. Um,
Mhm.
then, dude, all hell broke loose at work on Monday. We got mandatory overtime all week. I haven't been getting home till about 2 in the morning. Um, so yeah, I just haven't had time. And then Monday night when I actually did sit down and start like compiling, pulling all the footage off my phone and stuff, then I found out that I needed to buy a fucking program to convert all of the footage so that I could use it, which I did. Now I just need to buckle down and do it. I have so much shit in my editing folder right now, it's unbelievable. I'm not kidding, dude. I have my entire Spider-Man playthrough except for the last chapter of it, which I think I talked about on here. Um,
Yeah.
the last part of my Spider-Man 2 playthrough, the audio got corrupted in it because OBS updated, and I could see all my audio just fine here, but in the recording, it didn't record all the tracks because I pulled my recording from Twitch, and Twitch only recorded like the one track, so all I had was my voice. So not only did I stream the whole thing without game audio, the recording didn't have game audio either.
Nice.
So I have that whole playthrough except for like the last act of the game. I have the West Virginia trip. I have a video I'm working on for World at War, Call of Duty World at War Zombies. Um, I have an MW3 video, MW3 Zombies video that I've wanted to make, and now the game is in a such crappy state that I don't even want to make the video anymore because it's changed so much since I started working on the video and is essentially abandoned.
Yeah.
And so that video, some of the footage from that video is going to get turned into this. I planned on doing this whole series on my own channel where I play all of the zombie games, and the series is called Way Back When. And the first 6 episodes or 6 parts of Way Back When are going to be all of the zombie games, and then I'm going to get into like Force Unleashed. It's just like games from my childhood that were very impactful. Star Wars Battlefront, stuff like that. Um,
Mhm.
but dude, I just with work getting crazy again, it's like I have all these projects that I'm trying to get done, trying to work on. Why I kind of like this. It's real simple. I record, I put the footage in, very minimal editing. I spend more time making a thumbnail than I do editing the entire podcast. And that's just the way it goes. If I want to like maybe teach myself a little bit more about how to quickly make a thumbnail, but yeah. So there's that. I'm sorry. I just kind of like went through an entire existential crisis right there, but
Oh, that's fine. Don't worry. Once you, on a lighter note, you'll go through another one when we go to watch Interstellar in IMAX.
I'm excited for it. Um There's another content creator. I don't know if you've ever heard of him or if you've ever watched him. His channel's called the Cosmonaut Variety Hour.
I've heard of it, but I don't think I've ever watched
He
anything.
did an entire ultimate review, I think is what he calls them, of every Batman movie ever made. And you just said Interstellar tied into Nolan Batman.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
how I
yeah.
got here. He made some comments about Interstellar, and now I'm like nervous a little bit because essentially what he said was Interstellar is an incredible movie up until like the last 30 minutes where he just really didn't enjoy the direction it went. I don't know. I'm not going to take the word of a man who he also openly stated that he's not the biggest Christopher Nolan fan. But and I'll just leave you with that. So, I'm not going to use his representation of what he said about Interstellar as a benchmark. I guess that's the best way to say it.
Hmm, interesting.
Yeah,
It's a good thing we know he's wrong because the only good opinions are the ones on this
that's
podcast.
right. That is absolutely right. Um yeah, man, if you ever find yourself like at work and you want to just listen to something to pass some of the time or whatever, because that's what I've been doing recently. I put on like a YouTube video and put my phone over my tool bag or something, or in my locker, and I have earbuds that I can listen to music or podcast or whatever.
Hmm.
Check out his channel. He's got some good stuff on there. He's got some good stuff about the Spider-Man movies, the Batman, the one he did about Batman is really good, and it puts some perspective on all the Batman movies that were made.
Gotcha.
And I know you're a Batman fan, so oh god.
Well, speaking of, all right, well, now here we go. We're going on another tangent. We went from Interstellar, Nolan, Batman. What is your opinion? You see the Joker 2 trailer.
I haven't watched the trailer.
Okay.
Um I watched the first one and I really liked the movie. I liked the movie. My one takeaway from it was this could have been an incredible movie on its own. It didn't have to use any Warner Brothers properties that already existed. This guy didn't need to be the Joker. He could have just been a guy,
Yeah.
which is kind of like one of the things that I really like about the Joker, right? He's just a guy, and I can't remember what Batman comic was, but it was like we'll roll all the way back to what I was talking about Butcher. Like he had one bad day that pushed him over the edge, right? And I
Yep.
really liked that about the original Joker, the Joaquin Phoenix Joker movie.
Oh, yeah.
Um, my biggest fear with Joker was that it was going to be tied in somehow to some Batman property somewhere. It was going to be an origin story, and that right there was the one thing I didn't like about Joker. And I feel like they took the one thing that I didn't like about the Joker movie and they turned that whole one idea into the fucking sequel. Because now we have Harley Quinn. You know, they're going to fucking tie it into Battinson. And I don't know how it's going to work because the Joker looked like it was set in like the 70s. And Battinson's kind of set in modern times. And when I say Battinson, I mean Robert Pattinson's Batman. The Batman,
Yeah.
which I watched it too, and I really liked it. It was probably the best on-screen Batman we've gotten, and kind of one thing I didn't like about it, it was a crummy Bruce Wayne. It's really hard to get both right. I think the best on-screen Bruce Wayne is shit.
Christian Bale.
Christian Bale. I don't know why I was thinking Kirsten, but Christian Bale was best on-screen Bruce Wayne, and Robert Pattinson is best on-screen Batman. But yeah, and I love Gaga. I really do. Lady Gaga.
Yeah, I didn't realize that was her at first.
Yeah, I think she's gonna do a good Harley Quinn. In my eyes, though, the best Harley Quinn will always be Margot Robbie.
Oh yeah.
Uh, I thought she portrayed like a really good. I don't want to say comic accurate, but like
Almost there,
yeah,
kind of comic
I'd say
accurate.
she portrayed like the closest thing to the video game Harley Quinn that we could get.
Gotcha.
Definitely over sexualized Margot Robbie in the Suicide Squad movies, but like her voice, the way her inflections were in her voice, it made it great. She was good. So I'm interested to see Gaga's take on it. I'm just I don't know. Like I said, the one thing I didn't like about the Joker movie is like what they pumped the it seems like that's what they pumped the sequel full of. Did you watch Fallout yet?
No, I haven't.
I haven't either.
I heard good reviews though.
Reviews are great. Um and furthermore, it seems like the people that were fans of the games are actually enjoying the TV show. So we might have a W. We might have a W on our hands for finally having a TV show or a movie of a video game adaptation that actually isn't crap.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Halo ain't looking good.
Hey, you remember they made an Assassin's Creed movie? You remember that
Oh
one?
my god, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, everybody does because of how horrible it was.
Dude, Assassin's Creed, I forgot they made that one.
With
Resident
Magneto.
Evil, we've talked about this the entire time. Resident Evil is laughable compared to what, you see in the video games. Uh Good in its own way, good bad, you know what I mean? They're
Yeah.
terrible, but you love to hate them. Uh but yeah, Fallout looks good. I haven't watched it because I went down the boys tangent. And of course, the week I decide to start watching The Boys is the week that Fallout goes live on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
So and I've been seeing it. It pops up every time I open up Prime to watch The Boys. It's like, do you want to watch Fallout? I'm like, let me get through this first. Let me get through this first, and then I'll do it.
Yeah, no, on Tuesday I was probably gonna start watching some of it.
Well, you tell me how it is. Like I said, nothing but good things about it. Speaking of adaptations, I don't know if this is real or not, but I saw something on Twitter. It's kind of the opposite direction. Did you see that Paramount Pictures put into early development a Danny Phantom live action movie?
I did see that, and I
Dude,
am going to be highly disappointed.
I never watched a whole lot of Danny Phantom on Nickelodeon as it was, but here we are again. Just let's take a real I don't I don't want to say beloved because I don't know that Danny Phantom had the same impact as what I'm about to say. But let's take a beloved Nickelodeon cartoon and make it live action. like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Oh, that was awful.
Mm-hmm. Both of them. The
Yeah,
Netflix show, awful. The
that's
Kathleen
true.
Kennedy fucking live action movie they made with M. Night Shyamalan, also awful. It's like, just quit making stuff live action because you ran out of ideas, Hollywood.
True.
You know, you're doing it with video games, you're doing it with cartoons. Cartoons have this style, this design choice, this design element that allows them to relay emotion differently than you can in a live action movie. And that's why the live action adaptations never work. You saw it with, what was it? Cowboy Bebop. You saw it with, aren't they doing a One Piece live action now? Just stop it. And apparently they want Tom Holland to play Danny. Just give me a fucking break. Make something new. Write a story. Release a good TV show. Quit trying to rehash everything from our childhood. I mean, you even see it with stuff that wasn't live action or that was already live action. Like, iCarly got rebooted and put on Paramount Plus, and they did like a more adult centric version of iCarly. Just fucking stop. Make something new.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I can't even. It's just one of those things where they're trying too hard to get the current adult audience that can make them money, like trying to pull them in too much, and it's just like, yeah, so like that old trick's not gonna work with our generation. We watched it all, we loved it all back then. You trying to change it and adapt it to nowadays makes us hate it.
Like, what's next? You know what I mean? Like, are we gonna get live action Jimmy Neutron?
Oh, well, hold up a second. That one might cook a little bit.
No, dude. Jimmy Neutron is good because back in the day, that was the very first CG animation that Nickelodeon ever did.
True.
Like, and like I said, it's not gonna translate from the style of the animation to live action. It never does. It never works. Fallout works because it's a video game. And yeah, you can look at Fallout 3 to Fallout 76 and be like, have some semblance of what something should look like. We're talking about animation here. Didn't it so much of the emotion, so much of the design was lost in, and I'll give you another example. Like the Lion King animation.
Oh yeah.
The um what was the one with Emma Watson, Beauty and the Beast. They did the Beauty and the Beast live action. It's just the old ones were good. Leave them alone. Um,
Yeah.
like what's next? Another thing. What's next? Fairly Odd Parents. You can't do it. People aren't gonna buy it. You know what I mean?
Well, they already did the Fairly Odd Parents.
What?
Yeah, there's already one out there.
Oh
Damn,
my
I think I
God,
might.
they did. I forgot about this. Drake Bell was in it.
Yeah, he was Timmy.
There was no fucking hope. 2011. I need to know. Where's Rotten Tomatoes? Rotten Tomatoes. Fairly Odd Parents movie. 29% audience score. Wow. It doesn't even have a critic rating.
And nobody wanted to watch
And
it.
even the critics were like, "Nah, we're going to pass on this one." I don't know what shocks me more, that they made this movie and thought it was a good idea, or that 29% of people liked it.
I don't know.
Like, that number seems insanely high. I could see like 9% of people liking it, but if you have a brain somewhere, doesn't need to be in your head, you can look at this and go, that's gonna suck.
Oh yeah, yeah. I watched the only thing I knew about it was I watched the trailer for it and I said, "No, I'm good."
Oh god. I can't I
You see-
I mentally blocked this movie out of my mind.
Apparently, they want to try and do a full-on live-action SpongeBob.
See, the SpongeBob movie, the one that came out when we were kids with David Hasselhoff in it and everything, that was
Oh yeah.
live action and hand drawn animated, right? And then they did
Yep.
another one that was like CG animated, and it didn't fucking work. There's no way. This is what boardroom director is sitting in on like a meeting with like a writing staff and like a producer and being like, yo, these guys, they're in their 30s now. I think we got to give them Jimmy Neutron live action. Like, where are you as a person that that's the idea that you're coming? We're the sales department's on fire. The accounting department, they all put in their 2 weeks notice. This is gonna turn the company around. This is our big idea. Let's give them Jimmy Neutron live action. Like, what are you doing? And how do you have a job? Like, did you how and that guy probably makes a couple mil a year just from being on like a board of directors and sitting in on a few meetings. Like, you are awful. Just stop. The only thing I have ever come across that I liked going from an animated series to live action, I don't know if you ever watched it, but it was Once Upon a Time on ABC where they did all like the fairy tale characters
Oh
and
yeah, yeah.
yeah. That show, a little wonky to go back and watch. The acting clearly isn't there. The writing, it's like they're clearly writing themselves out of holes at some points in the show. But like, I think what I liked about it was it took something familiar, like the idea of Snow White, Prince Charming, whole deal, and they put this dark spin on it where it's almost more akin to like an old German fairy tale or folklore. That's what I liked about that show. It was wonky, it was goofy, but it wasn't what they did with Beauty and the Beast. It wasn't what they did with The Little Mermaid. It wasn't what they did with The Lion King. It wasn't what they did with. I mean, I can probably, if I did a quick Google search of live action Disney movies, I could probably name another dozen. But
I'm not gonna lie. There'd be one Disney movie. Is that even Disney? Yeah, it has to be because she turns out to be a princess. Um, Princess and the Frog. Because they don't have a live action yet. But I feel like if there was one movie that they could probably do all right with, would be that one.
yeah, that was they did an animated movie in 2009. I remember this one. Um, yeah, and that was like tail end of them actually hand animating stuff. Put it to you this way: the last big hit that Disney had, they had two: Frozen and Moana. That's it.
Oh, those were
And
good.
what's the one? Was it Coco?
Oh yeah, Coco.
Coco. I mean, my sister was into it. My sister's a little significantly younger than me. She's 12-year age, 15-year age difference. I'm sorry. And she's big on Frozen, big on Moana, and I dated a second grade teacher for a little bit, and she liked Coco or Don't Talk About Bruno, whatever. I think that's the same movie. No, Encanto,
Probably.
Encanto.
Yeah.
But
Okay,
like
yeah.
the originality these days is just gone. There's no originality to anything they're making. It's just let's recycle this thing from the past. Let's make it worse. And if you don't like it, then you're the problem. It's like, no. The problem is that you're hiring people that barely have a GED to do your fucking writing. You
Well,
can't write
apparently
good stories.
the one thing that I read that is a possibility that it's either going to upset me or make me, or I should say, it's going to upset me and make me cancel my Netflix subscription, or it's going to make me want to pay more so they continue it. Netflix has confirmed that they want to work on a TV show based around the Call of Duty zombies.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Mm-hmm.
just leave it the fuck alone. Cuz
They're not going to.
you know Blundell and Craig Houston aren't going to be in on it. It's going to be Netflix
Nope.
writers. It's going to be they're going to take the four characters that we love in better yet. They're going to take the four characters that we love. They're not going to be voice acted. They're going to be I'd assume live action,
Yep.
right? They're going to be a live action version of them. Um and they're not going to be as good
Now, by far now.
because your voice actor for Maxis and Nikolai, he could probably pull off Maxis and Nikolai, let's be honest. But in the voice actor for Tank Dempsey could probably pull off playing IRL Tank Dempsey. The voice actor Nolan North could definitely pull off playing live action Richtofen. And the one that wouldn't work is um the guy who voiced Takeo, right? He's a white guy. He's a white guy. Not only that, but he had a stroke and he can't voice act anymore. He'd never be able to pull off Takeo.
No, I could get the
So
guy from Shogun. The main.
honestly, I don't know what his heritage is. I heard good things about that too. I there's too much on my damn plate to start watching something else new right now.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
dude, even Star Wars has some stuff coming out right now that I haven't even like. I started Bad Batch because it's like the final season of the Bad Batch, and it's the end of Dave Filoni's like Clone Wars era, right? And I watched 4 episodes and I was like, this, I don't care. And then they had The Acolyte, which was a show whenever it was first announced, I was like really excited for. It's set 100 years before Phantom Menace, takes place in the High Republic era. You know, haven't seen a Sith in thousands of years, and I haven't watched it, and it wasn't something I looked at in since all the updates they had for it, and I was like, dude, I can't wait for that. It's like, I just don't care. I just don't care. Star Wars, we've been down that tangent. I'm tired of it. Well, we've been going for an hour and 4 minutes. I feel like if we keep talking, we could go for another 40. But I think it's probably a good idea to wrap this one up here. We had a good little rap sesh here. Little
I agree. I
various
agree.
topics. Thumbnail is going to be a nightmare to make for this one again, but I'm here for it. Yeah, got through everything we probably should have talked about today. So, how about what do you want to talk about next week? Let's go there.
Hmm.
I kind of really like these I don't want to say scripted, non-scripted because I don't really script everything. We do some talking points here and there about stuff, but we literally did no writing for this one, no talking points. It's just turn the camera on and talk. So I like that, but if there's something that like a topic you actually wanted to discuss, what would it be? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Hmm. Hmm. I don't know.
I
Yeah, this one would actually have to be some thought from my side at least.
I have an idea. We've done like our top 5 favorite movies.
Hmm.
Let's do like top 5 each, which will turn into probably top 7. Although um I don't think we'd have as similar of lists this time around as before. How about the worst movies we've ever fucking watched in our lives? It kind
Ooh,
of ties into
okay.
what we talked about on this podcast, this episode. I think that would be fun.
I like
The
that.
worst movies ever made. Title, thumbnail. All right,
I think it
that's
work.
a
Yeah.
plan. So give us something to think about for the next week. And I'm gonna try to get some form of video up onto the channel um, for the uh, prison trip. Either that, or I'll edit it. I'll put it together, and I'll save it, and it'll be like a hey, we did this. We're not uploading this week. Watch this instead type deal.
Gotcha.
We'll save it on the back burner for if there's a week that we want to post something, but we don't want to record. Cool.
Gotcha.
Sounds like a plan.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Feel free to leave a like, comment, follow us down on our socials. They're linked in the video description. Spotify, YouTube, you know the deal. Uh, yeah, this has been Game Flicks and Chill.